Well, hello everyone. My name is Trey Rice, and I am the project and content coordinator over here in the Office of Data and Accountability. I've worked for Extension for many years, and my specialty definitely is in web-based technology. And like Dan was saying, I've had lots of experience with search engine optimization, and I can almost say I've also had a lot of my career was made off the back of Google and the way the Google search engine has evolved. So I know that I came up with a catchy title, and hopefully it did catch some of your attention. Um, but it's you could also call this training. I would call it basic Google literacy. And I don't know if everyone here uses Google. I'm sure multiple times a day. And I don't know if you've noticed over the last couple of years, the Google search results have changed. They change quite often, but you got to remember the main thing that Google is a search engine company, but it's built on to show ads and advertising. So they try lots of different things, and they're a for-profit company, and so their main goal is to get you what you want, but they also want to make sure that you're seeing a lot of ads. But that being said, the Google search results have become very overloaded and clogged with lots and lots of things to look at. So hopefully after this training today, you'll have some tips and tools where you can go in if you're trying to find something that you need for work or even for your personal life. You'll have these tips and tricks to kind of help you narrow down some of those search results and find what you're looking for. So before I get started on the actual demo, I do want to let you know um, at the end of the presentation, I'm going to post this cheat sheet that I've made for everyone. It's kind of a cheat sheet and a worksheet. So my recommendation is that you just watch the demonstration today and then download the cheat sheet and then either to your work computer or print it off at your work computer and then put it next to you and then go through the same exercises that I list or the same steps that I list in the cheat sheet. That way you can kind of refresh what you learned. And then you can also try different search terms and see if you can kind of become more of an expert at finding almost the needle in the haystack, if you will. Um, so today I'm going to go over the recommended setup. So how do you get going with all this to get the best results tailored for you? I'm going to talk about basic searches, then I'm going to talk about advanced Google searches, and then I'm going to show you something really neat that's actually just come out in the last year or so, and it's searching with an image. And then I'm going to go over a couple additional search tools, and then I'm going to show you just three other search engines that I think you'll find useful. So let's go ahead and get started. Just real quick, so you're looking at the Google homepage, and if you're going to do searching for work, what I would recommend is to create a Google account with that's kind of set up just for using at work. So when you do this and you log in and you use the Google Chrome browser, uh, it basically remembers your search history. So if you're doing a lot of searches around a certain topic, Google kind of figures out and starts to learn what you look for and what you do for a living and also at your work. And so it'll kind of help tailor your results. So once you create your Google account, you can log into the Google search or the Google Chrome browser on your computer. And this could be on a Mac or a PC. And then that way, um, it'll better tailor your results for you. And you don't always have to do this. You can be logged out and use Google search as well. But for this presentation, I'm going to be logged into Google Chrome. And so let me go ahead and move a couple of these things out of the way. So you're going to be on your laptop or desktop computer. You're going to set up a work or Google account if you want to, and then you're going to log into the Google Chrome browser. So the first thing we're going to talk about are going to be these basic searches. So when you're doing a search on Google, and this is where I see a lot of people kind of make this is the first mistake. When you're looking for something on Google, you want to start out simple. You don't want to like overload the Google search box with too many search terms. So choose your words wisely and try to picture what these words would be on the page that you're looking for. You want to imagine them being on that page text, and those are the ones that you're going to search for. So I usually start with 1 to 3 keywords, and then as I need to, I will add on other keywords to make it more specific. But you don't want to go too far overboard when you first start. Just keep it simple. Spelling and capitalization do not matter to Google. You don't have to capitalize anything. You can just type away and Google will understand what you're going for. Now I say that there are some instances where if you're looking for like a brand name, it might help to put like capital letters in between the words. And then Google also ignores punctuation that's not part of a search operator. So when I show you the more advanced search tools, that'll make more sense. But for the most part, punctuation does not matter. So we're going to start out really simple, and I tried to choose a very benign example to make sure this demonstration goes okay, and nothing out of the ordinary kind of pops up. So I decided, since it's fall and it's getting close to Thanksgiving, we are going to search for pumpkin pie and then hit enter. All right. So this is exactly what I'm talking about here. When you do this simple search for pumpkin pie, look at the size of this Google search results page. I mean, please take me back about 15 years ago when we just had 20 results with just blue links and descriptions. Now we got to search through all this other stuff on the page. And these things could be helpful, but you just got to understand, like, for most people, it's really tough to get through this. Luckily, this one topic that I chose doesn't have any ads on here either, because you would see those at the top too, and also on the side sometimes, and all mixed in. So this is kind of what I'm talking about, and this is what I'm hoping to show you today, is how do you go from 149 million search results to something a little bit more manageable and something closer to what you want. And also, how can you shrink down this page so you don't see all this stuff? You can actually start to find things. So the first thing you got to know is, you have your search box up here, and then I don't know if you've noticed this below here, but you now have tabs that you can click across. So for example, maybe you wanted to look for images. So you're going to cook a pumpkin pie, and you're going to take a picture and post a picture of it to social media. Well, you can go to the images tab and see different examples of pumpkin pie pictures that kind of give you an example or reference for the type of picture you want to post to social media. Or maybe you want to print this out and share it with somebody. Well, you can go and look and see what types of clip art is offered. Then you have this shopping tab. All these tabs are different for the key phrase that you use. Now for shopping, maybe you don't want to cook a pumpkin pie. Maybe you're just going to bring it and bring it over to the Thanksgiving dinner. Well, now whatever you search for in here, you can actually search nearby, and you can even order it online and pick up today. So Google's kind of integrated their search into more of these buy online things and picking up right away. And you can see that Google knows where I'm located based on my Google account. So see how it's kind of tailoring some of these search results to me. And then once you get to the shopping tab, you can also kind of limit it down to like your price range or your brand. You can do HEB or Martha Stewart, et cetera, et cetera. If I go back and you click on videos, obviously you can see videos of people preparing, but then there's even more tabs over here underneath the more button. And you can even look for like the newest, latest and greatest articles on pumpkin pie. Like if you wanted to cook a pumpkin pie that maybe you've never tried before, you're looking for the latest and greatest pumpkin pie recipe to impress your relatives. You can find that underneath the news tab. But I'm going to go back to the all tab, and you can, for each one of these tabs, there's this button over here called Tools. And when you click Tools, it gives you different options depending on the tab you're on. So right now, we're looking at all of the search results that have been saved and processed by Google. And some of these might have been around for a really long time. They're kind of been floating at the top forever. Well, maybe you don't want to see results from 5 years ago. Maybe you want to see results maybe just in the past month. So you can limit the total number of results shown by clicking that time range. And so you can turn the tools back off and notice how we've dropped down the number of results to 20 million. So we're getting even closer. So we're slowly whittling this down. But at least now I can look and see these recipes or results that are more recent. You can clear this out by clicking the Tools button. and then clicking clear. Another thing too, when you do a search, remember I told you to start simple. Well, what you would want to do is after you've kind of gone through some of these and you've been too overwhelmed, you got to start lengthening the search phrase to make it more specific. Well, you can actually see what people are searching related to pumpkin pie by scrolling all the way down. And you can see all these other searches that people have been doing. The simple pumpkin pie recipe is probably what would be more in my ballpark because I'm not much of a chef or a cook, but you can also now just click next to your original search phrase or query, and Google has this, I call this a mega drop down now. And now these related searches are shown up here at the top. So you don't even have to scroll down to the bottom of the page, which makes it really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and click on simple pumpkin pie recipe. And this first one keeps showing up. So it's from this website called All Recipes or allrecipes.com. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that result, and that takes me to a page with a pumpkin pie recipe. It looks nice. That's probably what I want. But now I'm on another page that also has a ton of stuff on it. So once you get to one of these pages like this, and you want to jump to the information that you need, you're like, oh, this is great. This is exactly what I want. Well, you can start to search on this page to find what you need. And the easiest way to do that is to do a search on page on your PC. You do control, you hold down the control key and then the letter F. And that opens up this little mini search box within Google. And if you're on a Mac, you can do Command F, I believe. And I just want to know the ingredients. So I'm just going to type in the word ingredients up here. And it tells me that there's 7 instances of the word ingredients on the page. And I'm going to quickly jump to the section where I need to find out where the ingredients are for this simple pumpkin pie recipe. So I'm not there yet. Okay, here it is. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. So how do I make this particular recipe? So I'm reading through this, not knowing a whole lot about cooking, and I get to this word, 1 16-ounce can of pumpkin pie puree. And I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. I don't know what a puree is, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to open up a new tab over here, and I'm going to start showing you some more of these basic search features that are built into Google. So I'm going to type in the word define, which is my command, and then a colon, and I'm going to paste the word puree in there. And notice how Google automatically pulls a definition of the word puree out of the dictionary and shows it right here at the top of the search results. And so maybe if I had to go ask somebody about this and I didn't know how to pronounce it, you can also click this pronunciation of it. Maybe you needed to translate it to a different language. This is just one of the quickie things that are kind of built into Google now. So it makes that kind of easy and interesting. Remember, this is just basic stuff. You know, if you've already been using Google for a while, you might already know a lot of these things, but there were some things like this next thing that I didn't know or didn't really know how to get to. But if we're back here on this ingredients list, it calls for 1 16-ounce can of pumpkin puree. Well, how big is a 16-ounce? I have no idea like how big that is. I know how big a cup is, like a measuring cup. So let's go over here to Google, and we're going to type in how many cups is 16-ounce. It gives you this neat little conversion calculator. So it says 16 fluid ounces is equal to 2 cups. Well, you can do 32 and they'll convert it to 4. And you can also do a whole other list of different types of conversions here. So it has this neat little conversion calculator built in to Google. And then let's say maybe I wanted to increase this recipe by 3. Well, and if the number was something like a little bit more difficult than 14, but let's just say I wanted to multiply 14 by 3. So I can open up another tab and I can do 14 and then the multiplication operator, which is the star, times 3. That brings up 42. And it also brings up this neat little calculator that you can use right here on the Google search results. And then finally, looking down through these directions, I don't know if I'd actually use this, but I just wanted to show you that there's a ton of these little web applications that are built into Google. It says that I have to bake this pie for 15 minutes. Well, you can go over here and tell Google set timer for 15 minutes. And as soon as you do that, it starts a timer. And then as long as you have your sound on, once this ends, then the timer will go off. So there's almost like, you could call these things Easter eggs built into Google now that a lot of people don't even know. So hopefully that kind of showing you a couple of these things. These are basic canned searches. You may or may not use them, but let me just go ahead and show you a couple more before we get into advanced searches. And I'd also like to stop and quiz you guys to see if anybody out there knows of any of these little shortcuts or tricks on Google that you use often. So start thinking about that. But here's another example of some additional basic searches. So let's say I want to do weather and College Station, Texas. Well, now it's pulling data from weather.com, and I can see weather by the different days. And like on Friday, it's telling us that there's a chance for rain. And you can click on this precipitation tab, and then it'll kind of tell you what's the best guess for when the rain is going to come through. What time of day is that going to happen? It even gives you the wind direction. So that's kind of nice. And then I'm sure you've used this before. So closest Starbucks to me. That'll bring up, as long as you're logged in at your computer, and Google knows where you are based on your IP address location, it'll give you the closest Starbucks or store or restaurant, whatever you want to do. And then maybe in your office you need a new printer. Your printer died, but you can't spend that much money, or you have a certain amount in mind that you want to spend. Well, you can now just type in printer and then $200, and then Google will go ahead and start to pull search results that are in that price range. And obviously, you can expand that by going to the shopping tab, and then you can filter out some of the results by brand or by location. It makes it very convenient to find things that you would pick up in person. I don't know if you noticed though, back over on the actual search results page, it did give me a link to Amazon as well. So maybe you don't have to pick these up in person, but you could get them delivered, and it automatically jumps you to the right place in Amazon. So that's pretty convenient. Another one that I use a lot, especially when I'm traveling, to check on flight times. You can put in your flight number, so 3240. So this is the flight that usually travels between College Station and DFW. And so you can see when it departs and when it arrives, and they even tell you the terminal and the gate. Obviously, you want to check these things out before you get to the airport. But it can also jump you to the flight aware page, where you can see, based on the weather, how the current flight is going. So like when this storm was blowing through yesterday, you could zoom in here and you could see the different flights and why it was taking a little bit longer to get to DFW, because they were traveling around the storm, and you can see where the airplane is. So it makes it kind of convenient if you are traveling, or if someone's picking you up from the airport, they can continue to check that. You can now paste directly into the Google search box UPS tracking numbers, FedEx tracking numbers, USPS tracking numbers, and it'll pull that information up, or at least give you a link to the website where you can go get it. And then you can use basic searches like I showed you, but you can also start to ask Google questions like, when does daylight savings time end? And so Google has started to reply back with these snippets here at the top, or these direct responses. So a lot of the times you can actually just go there, and a lot of the things I don't know about or I don't want to remember, I will just go here and start asking questions. So you can do that as well, but I always recommend starting out with a simple query first. And then this is also helpful too if you work with multiple language speakers throughout the day. You can do English to Spanish, and then you can enter in text if you had to ask somebody. something, you can enter in your text over here and it'll convert it automatically to Spanish or whatever language you want. There's all the languages are built in. And then finally, this one I find useful is the tip calculator. So let's say your bill is $76.76 and you want to tip 20% and it's just you. It'll calculate that for you and tell you what the total is going to be, but you can also split it by the number of people. So all these things I've just shown you are kind of basic and built in. They're useful and they're convenient. You probably wouldn't use them all the time. Hopefully after you download this cheat sheet, you can print this off and keep it by your desk. And then when you find other things, you can write next to it. But I'm going to go ahead and pause right now to see if anybody has any questions, or if you want to share some of the quickie search basic things that you guys use during the day. Does anybody want to share any of their search?
Well, I did want to ask a question about images, just to make sure we all understand what images you can rip from from Google and not, right? Could you go through that for us, Trey?
Yeah, I will. I got a section, so I'm going to show you how to do advanced searches next, and then I have a whole section on images and searching with images, and I'll mention that as far as like image use requirements. I'll just go ahead and talk about it right now. So as far as finding images to use, you can't just go and Google for an image and download it off the internet and use it in a publication. You have to use images that you have rights to, or that came from I think it's called the AgriLife photo shelter. One of those images that that we have rights to use, or that you're paying for a license like through Canva or something like that. You can't just go and grab a copyrighted image and use it to promote something that you want to promote, unless there are no restrictions on that image. But that's kind of hard to tell in this day and age. But I'm going to go ahead and continue with advanced searches now. And this seems kind of, I guess, more technical. You can call it advanced, and it might geek some of you guys out, but it'll actually, I think a lot of these will be really helpful to help, narrow down the list of search results and help you find what you're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and do another search for pumpkin pie. All right. So the first thing you can do is to start limiting down some of these results is, let's say you do a search for pumpkin pie, but you don't want any recipes that have milk in them, or cream, or cheese. Well, the way you take those results out is by using an operator called it's the minus sign. You put that and then you type the word milk, or you do a minus sign and type the word cream. And then, so right now I'm at 149 million results, but if you start putting in these words that you want to take away, it starts to kind of take out some of those recipes and give you a cleaner looking page, and something else that, it just gives you more options without having to sort through quite as much stuff. So that's the way you remove results with a word. The one that I use all the time, and this is for Googling like error messages. So let's say you're working on your computer and you're trying to do something, and it keeps giving you this one specific error message. It's a really funny one, and you write it down. Well, the way you want to Google that particular error message, so you can hopefully find the exact solution that you need, is you put it inside of quotes. So for example, with this pumpkin pie, I want to find pages that have this exact phrase on them, exactly the way I've written it. And so you put it, you open it with a quote, and you say like lactose free pumpkin pie, and then you close it. And what that does is it only shows you the results that have that exact phrase on it. So notice we've gone from millions and millions of results when we've whittled it down to something a little bit more manageable. Not that you would go through all those, but at least it's getting to the point where you're starting to find what you might be looking for. And if we scroll through some of these results, you can see that it's a lot closer to what I might be looking for, like lactose free. The other thing too that I always do, like you'll know kind of what you're looking for, but you can't remember this one word. So for example, let's say I wanted to look for gluten-free pumpkin pies because one of my family members can't eat gluten. Well, I couldn't remember the word gluten. So the way you can tell Google to look for that is use something called a wildcard character. So it's just the star again, and then I would type that, and I would type the word free, and then pumpkin pie, and then recipe. And then what Google will do is it will substitute in other words where that star is. So right now, the first result that showed up, because it's usually a popular thing, is gluten free. But if you go down, you scroll down a little bit, you can see that you got like vegan, you got dairy free, you got sugar free. So it's a great way, if you can't remember the exact phrase of something, you can substitute in a word with that wild card. The other one I wanted to show was you can combine these. So we're going to do the quotes, and I'm going to do sugar free, and then I'm going to put in the star, and I'm going to do pie recipe. And so what you can do here is you can do sugar free, and then you can put in the wild card and then try to see what other pies are available. So Google is substituting in the word apple on this first one, pumpkin, pecan, and you even have a keto sugar free. So see how Google is starting to substitute different words in for that wildcard character. So it makes it more convenient to find alternates without having to get overloaded with all those other search results. Another thing that I use a lot too, if I know there's a certain person or company that specializes in something, you'll put their name after the search phrase. So like pumpkin pie, and then I would put, let's say I want to do recipe, and then I want to do Martha Stewart. So what that does is it tells Google to put priority on those that authoritative source in the search results above all the other ones. And so you notice all of these pumpkin pie recipes come from the Martha Stewart website. So that's a great way to filter out a lot of the fluff. If you know where the authoritative source is, you put that at the tail end of your search query. So what happens if you want to search for multiple things? So the way you do that, and you want to combine them, you want to use the OR operator, so OR. So let's say we wanted to see all the most popular search results for pumpkin pie or apple pie. So the OR operator tells Google to join those two together and then put the top search results for those two keyword phrases. So right at the top, it gives us this one called the Great Pumpkin Pie Recipe, and then notice that it gave me Pumpkin Apple Pie Recipe. So it actually took them and joined them together and found recipes that combined both of them. There's Pumpkin Dutch Apple Pie. And you don't have to type the word or. You can also use the pipe character, which is shift, and then right above the enter key, it's a straight line. That means the same thing as or. And that'll come in more handy later when we start combining some of these other things. So that's how you combine two words with the word or. And then you can also get really specific and say, I only want to show pages that have pumpkin pie in the title, because I know that those are probably going to be more of what I'm looking for and won't contain all the other fluff about all the other stuff that could go along with pumpkin pie. So the way you do that is you use the all in title command. Pumpkin, let's say we'll do pumpkin pie crust. Oops. So Google's only going to show me the pages with that in the title. So it helps to limit that to just the titles. It even does it on the videos as well. And then you can do the same thing. You only want to show pages that have that in the text as well. So you do all in text. That's the command for that. So wherever this shows up in the text, that's what it shows me. And you can combine this by putting quotes around pumpkin pie crust so that it only shows me results inside that say pumpkin pie crust inside the text. So those are some more advanced ways to start limiting down and trying to find exactly what you're looking for. It helps a lot with error messages or troubleshooting as well. So this next one, I think, is probably one that you're going to use most often out of all of the advanced searches. So this tells Google to go to a site and search for that specific keyword phrase. So if you know of a site that you want to search, and maybe you've been to the site, or like, for example, you've been on one of the AgriLife sites and you've tried to use the search box that's built into that website, and you can't find what you're looking for, but you know it's there. You just the search function inside that site doesn't work as well as Google. Well, what you can do is you can come over here and you can use the command site to look inside of that site. So let's do pumpkin pie, and we're going to do site, and we're going to do agrilife.org. So it tells Google to go to the websites that end with agrilife.org and search for the keyword phrase pumpkin pie. And what that does is it only returns results from that particular site. So you notice we only have 495 results, so it actually limited it down quite a bit. And sure enough, here's one from Austin County, the precious pumpkin pie recipe. Maybe that was the one I was looking for, but I couldn't remember how to get to it. This is a great way to do it. And what you can, and now, maybe you want to expand just a little bit more. You know that Dinner Tonight website also might have a pumpkin pie recipe, but you want to include it with the AgriLife website. So the way you do that is you combine your sites and you tell Google, I want to go search agrilife.org, or using the pipe character or the word or, I want to search, I think I did tamu.edu. That will return results from agrilife.org and also from Dinner Tonight or just a .tamu.edu. So this is a great way to search through just a handful of sites to find what you want versus going to their site search tool. Google's much better at it. As long as Google can get into the website and save those pages, that will definitely help out. And just real quick, you can also take out pages or websites from the search results. So let's do pumpkin pie again. And when we went here, let's just say, for example, because allrecipes.com has been there forever, they're just loaded on the front page, and we don't want to see any more stuff from them. We want to get rid of them and see some of these alternate websites. So the way you do that is use the minus character, and you type in www.allrecipes.com. And what that does is it takes out all of the results from that particular recipe so that you don't see them anymore, and you just see ones from these other ones. And so it helps kind of limit that down a little bit. The other one I know that a lot of people like to do is maybe you want to find something printer friendly, like a manual or a recipe. Well, the way you do that is you use the file type command. So we're going to do pumpkin pie, and then we're going to do file type :PDF, and then we're going to go ahead and search the AgriLife website. So site: agrilife.org. And so what this returns is it returns just PDFs from that website or that domain that I specified in that query. So if we click on like one of these is pumpkin pie smoothie, this will pull up just the PDF for this particular ingredient. So this is this recipe. So this is a great way to find, like manuals, journal articles if it's open, recipes, basic, written things, even old PowerPoint presentations. I've used that to find those as well. So you would, instead of PDF, you would do PPT or PPTX for PowerPoint. But let's go back to pumpkin pie. And let's say site AgriLife back over here, and let's say we wanted this precious pumpkin pie recipe, and we click this result, and we get to that page, and you get the dreaded 404. I can't find this page, or 404 error. I know it's very frustrating because things get unlinked and moved around all the time. Well, you can actually see the most recent saved copy of the page by clicking these little three dots next to the search result. And what that does is it brings up this little pop-up from Google, and then you can come down here and click the cached button, and this will show you the most current version that Google has saved to their computers. And so you can see that this page was saved on October the 11th, 2022. And this is a great way to get that information before it's completely removed from Google's computers and from the internet. Just real quick, another way to find pages that existed a long time ago is by using something called the Internet Archive. And you can get to that by going to archive.org. And then you would type in the URL that you want, like could be AgriLife extension, or in this example, I've already put in the Precious Pie page. And what this will do is it'll bring up a saved copy of it it could be from many, many years ago, basically since the internet started, if it existed back then. So it's a great way to go back and find old documents that may or may not have been deleted off of a website. So all the things I've shown you for advanced search, you can learn to type in the commands directly into the search box, or you can use a form that Google has built. It's called the advanced search form. So let's just do pumpkin pie. And you can get to it by clicking on this little gear icon over here on the right. And then you're going to click this link that says advanced search. And so what this brings up is kind of like, we would call this a query builder. So you can do the exact same things that I've already shown you how to do, but you can just put like keywords inside these boxes, and it'll do the same thing as putting the keywords inside quotes, or using the or operator. You can put the minus sign to remove certain search results, and you can even do ranges. So this is kind of like a quick query builder for advanced searches instead of typing it in, but it makes it, it's one more extra click. So I actually recommend, learning the different types of search operators and commands and using those directly in Google search. So before I get started on searching with an image, does anybody have any questions or want to share anything? Dan, did you have any questions?
You answered my question. I'm not saying anything on the chat, but you answered my question about PowerPoints, because sometimes I'll look for other people's PowerPoints to give me an idea of how to build my PowerPoint. So that's really helpful. I appreciate that. And then also that cache, man, I had no idea that was even existed. So often things get unlinked. That's also really helpful.
That's the one drawback of the internet, is it's fluid, right? And things come and go all the time. And you get so used to having a bookmark, and all of a sudden you go to that bookmark and then you can't find it, or it's broken. It's so frustrating, especially like for forms that you need, or like you said, templates, or old movies, or how-to videos. So hopefully the cache thing, and also make sure you bookmark that Internet Archive site, because that's another way to kind of go back in time. I've actually been able to download almost entire websites from that site to rebuild pages.
Just to go back to an issue. So let's say we had something come up, and say climate change or whatever, and we wanted to see the latest articles that are only related to, say, cattle.
Right.
How would I, I'm talking about news articles, just to kind of get an idea, because sometimes what I'll do is I'll do popular press in my PowerPoints.
Yep.
To kind of get an idea, pull titles off and things. And so, how could I search for, you can use pumpkin pies, how would I search for that?
Well, let me, probably the easiest way would be to do the or. the or operator. So let's go back over to google.com, and you could do climate change or cattle, and see, look, we're even seeing ads on this one, but you can see, actually that probably wasn't the best.
And I can actually narrow that to only news items, right? Somehow.
Yeah, you can. It kind of limited it down to where I don't really start to see, you see cows and climate change. So maybe the keyword phrase would be, didn't even give me any suggestions, which is kind of strange, but it could be climate change or cows or climate change, and then try just doing cattle, and then see what it returns, and then use some of those other searches to just search certain sites. Like if you knew, that's probably what I would do is with a topic like that, instead of getting a lot of these other fluffier things, you could do where you just limit it to a .edu.
Yeah.
So,
okay. How do you do that? Yeah.
so you would do site and then colon and then .edu, and then that will only show you results from a .edu. And then you could also do, you can combine the sites where you do site.edu and then maybe or site .gov for gov.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I did not know that.
So then that way you're only seeing, like you see UC Davis has the top one here, and then you have this one from ers.usda.gov.
So our top searches usually either ads paid for or the most frequently clicked, or how do these come to the top?
Yeah, so it depends. And so everybody will see different search results. So you'll see a different set of search results versus what I see based on your search history and your location, and then probably a million other things. So some people will see ads, some people won't see ads, some people will see pictures. This is more of a hot button topic, so who knows what kind of tweaking Google's doing here on the back end. There's another site that I was going to show after showing the images, but I'll go ahead and show it right now. Google's created this thing called Fact Check Explorer. So when there is a topic like this, it's, you know, there's all these claims, or maybe you hear something on social media. Well, you can come here and see if there's been any fact checks done on a certain topic. So let's just do like COVID-19 vaccine. So you can see what the latest claims are. So like, here's a claim by a Facebook post, the New Zealand vaccine expert, blah, blah, blah. And then it tells you, well, how has it been fact checked, or what's the claim or the rating? Like here's one that says inaccurate, and it explains why. And then it also talks about different keywords over here on the right that you can click through and see what other types of fact checking and claims have been made about a certain topic. They kind of put this together after all of the complaints about misinformation coming through on Google. And so they're starting to try to help people weed this out and find responses to some of these issues. So that's an extra tool. But just by learning how to do a more advanced search, it helps you kind of weed through this stuff. And you're still, unfortunately, going to have to see ads because that's how Google makes money. But like on some queries like pumpkin pie, you don't see ads. So it's different for everybody. So
and you will be doing a handout at the end. Lori was asking that question, so
yep.
That's yep.
Thanks. At the end, I'm gonna drop this cheat sheet worksheet in the chat, and then you guys can download and print it, and then follow along with the steps and try out some of these things. But since we're already at 2:15, let me go ahead and show you how to search with an image, because I think this is one of the coolest things that Google has tweaked in a while. And you might already know a lot of the stuff, but I didn't after putting this presentation together. But if you go to images.google.com, and let's say you're out at an event or you're trying to find a certain part or a tool, and you basically you have no idea what this thing is, but you want to find out more information about it. So what you can do now is you can take a picture of it or find a picture of it, upload it to Google, and then Google's artificial intelligence will help you find related things to it. So you go to images.google.com, And then you click on this little camera icon, which is search by image, and it brings up this box. And so you can drag and drop. I'm going to show you 4 different ways to search with an image. The first one is uploading a file. The next one is searching by URL. And then you can search from an image on a website. So I've already downloaded some images. I downloaded some images from Goat Yoga, which I think happened at AgriLife. And so it was in the photo shelter. So I'm going to go ahead and upload a picture from Goat Yoga. And let's say I wanted to find more information about these goats. So I've now uploaded an image from my computer up to Google, and the Google AI went through and tried to recognize what was going on. And then over here on the right, it has shown me results that are related or look similar to this picture of this goat that I just uploaded. And you can adjust what Google is looking at by dragging these handles around. And Google refers to this thing as the Google lens. Let me go back and do another one. So let's say you're at an event and you take a picture of you're at a turf grass or grass event, and you want to find what this one particular type of grass is called that was shown in the picture. So you upload the picture from the event, and then you adjust the lens to the part of the image that you want to search. So I want to know what that grass is called right there because I want to plant it in my yard. And once you do that, Google will give you some different search results for you to find out more. So you can see it links to different types of St. Augustine grass and lawn grass, et cetera, et cetera. But you can go through and start doing more research. But you can even move your lens around the image to different parts. Like, let's say I like this hat. I want to get this hat that this person's wearing. Well, you adjust the Google lens, and then it will show you results for that hat. So this is very helpful. Like if you want to try to find a tool or a part or something that's broken at your house or even at the office, you want to know what is this thing called? We take a picture of it, upload it to Google, and then adjust the lens, and then Google will show you more information about it. And you can do the same thing when you go to a website. So let's go search for the one I have on this is rosette disease. We're going to search the site agrilifetoday.tamu.edu. And I want to go and find this image right here, just for this example. And let's just say I found this image on this website and I want to find out more information about rosette disease. What you can do is you can copy the image address for this particular image. I can go back to images.google.com, click on the camera icon, and I can paste that image link in here. So the image link is the link to that image on the AgriLife Today website, and I click search. And that brings up this image with the Google lens that I can adjust to find more information about this particular issue. So just imagine you're a producer out in the field and you notice this problem with one of your crops. Well, they could take a picture and then upload it to Google and draw the Google lens around it and then see more results related to that picture. And you notice this first one it tells you that's rosette disease. So it's very, very useful. You can do the same thing while you're directly on the page too. It doesn't bring up this nice big search box or Google lens box for you to draw on, but it can open it in the right sidebar. And if you right click on the image and you say search image with Google Lens, then what it'll do is it'll bring it up over here on the sidebar for you to search. But it's not as big, so it's not as convenient. Just real quick, the final way you can search for an image, and I have all this written down in the cheat sheet, so just kind of follow, just watch, and then you can follow. You can do this later at your own computer. But if we go back to Google, and let's say we were looking for examples of fall floral arrangements for Thanksgiving and for our dinner table, and we did this search, and we want to look for examples over here, and we go to the images tab, and then we see this very first one. We're like, wow, that looks great. What is that big yellow flower there called? I can't remember. Well, you click on it, and then once it opens up over here on the right, there's this button up here that's called search inside an image. You click that, And then you can basically adjust your lens around that particular thing that you want to find out more information about. And then you scroll down and you can see that it's the common sunflower. And you can find visual matches for that. And you can even click over here and do a Google image search with the keywords common sunflower in it. And so that returns all of those results for sunflowers. So those are 4 ways that you can search with an image. I think it's very, very useful, especially if you're out in the field, or even if you're at like I don't know, a farmer's market or an antique swap meet, and you want to find out what this one particular thing is called. Well, it makes it really easy to search by image. So if you are trying to monitor a topic, there's this tool called Google Alerts. So if you've created a Google account and you've done all your research and you're like, wow, this is a great topic, like climate change and cattle, you can go to, and you're logged into your account, you can go to Google Alerts. Oops. And you can tell Google, I want to see like a weekly email about this topic and the latest and greatest information. So you can put in what you want to search for. So climate change and cattle. Actually do climate change, cattle, cows. And then you can tell Google, I want every week from all these different types of sources, or you can just do news. And then what region you're in, United States, and then only the best results. And then once a week, Google will send you a Google alert to the email address that's linked up to your Google account. So this is a great way to kind of stay on top of a certain keyword phrase. And then you can stop the alert whenever you want, and you don't want to get any more emails about it. So you can take that alert, turn that off. So that's a great way to kind of stay on top of a topic. So I know we're running out of time, but I did want to mention a couple other search engines that I use. You probably have heard about these, but the first one is called DuckDuckGo. So the thing about Google, when you go do a Google search on Google, it goes into your history, and Google starts to learn more and more about you. And then based on what you search, they'll show you ads. Well, a lot of these ads will follow you around on the internet. They'll follow you even over social media. You might even be over at someone else's house. They'll follow you there. So if you don't want that to happen and you just want to do research on a subject, like right now I'm looking to buy a new car. Well, I don't want to see ads for all these different types of cars. I just want to find out more information about them. Well, you can come to this search engine called DuckDuckGo and do your search there. Another good thing about DuckDuckGo is it also, if you're trying to mimic search results, so you're trying to help someone find something over the phone. Well, remember, if you try to do that with Google, what you see on Google is different from what they will see on Google. So if you want to see the same thing that the other person's saying, you want to use DuckDuckGo because you will see matching search results. So it's very much like Google. You just type in what you want. So you can do like Chevrolet, Suburban, and it's just like Google. They do have ads, but their ads don't tag you or follow you around or build profiles on you. They have a lot of the same search functions and operators, and they have the images tabs, and everything is very, very similar to that. And then you can also use this to do like searches for like health related issues, things that you don't want going into your profile or into your history. The other one that I use a lot is Bing, which is owned by Microsoft. Bing actually does a really good job at images. I like the way they do their images. I like the way they kind of categorize things. They also give you quick little, instead of showing the nutrition facts on the search results page, they give you these buttons at the top that you can click to and find out more information about things. And then they also have older results, whereas Google constantly refreshes their results. So something at the top could be gone the next day. Bing keeps the search results a little bit more constant. So I kind of prefer that sometimes. The third one, since we're running low on time, I definitely want you to check this out. And after you get this cheat sheet, it's called Wolfram Alpha. And it's kind of a search engine, but it's more kind of like a huge database smart engine, I would call. So for example, let's say you're doing research on different types of cars to buy, and I've been doing this lately. If you want to look at the stats for us or the different characteristics for a Chevrolet Suburban, you would type this in, and then it brings up all the information about a certain topic. So it tells you like the price range, here's the mileage, how many people it can carry, the basic warranty, the different trims. All this information is so incredibly hard to find on the car manufacturers' websites. But here at least you can see it like very easily, like in clear, easy to read boxes. You can also do it versus so we can do like Tesla Model 3 versus Chevrolet Volt EUV. They'll do comparisons. So like if you're comparing between the two, you can see like the different price ranges, what the fuel economy is, or the ranges. It does a nice job of comparing the two, and it even does like for cities. So it pulls up city data. Basically anything that's got data on it, it's been piped into this engine, and now you can retrieve it and do comparisons and research on it. So like for example, you want to decide between Austin and Dallas. Well, you can see the different sizes. They break down the different educational levels there, the medium household income, the cost of living index. Kind of gives you a nice breakdown all in one screen. Let's see, what's another one? I guess since we're running out of time, I'm going to go ahead and show you. You can click on this examples button, and this is the one I kind of helps me learn how to search for some of these things. And you can go to these different topics and click here, and it'll give you examples of how to search for these things. Yeah, thanks everybody for your time. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at any time too.